Welcome back to another Reacts Raw video where my producers pick something I've never seen before, show it to me in real time, and you get a raw reaction. This clip we're about to watch is from a movie called The Perks of Being a Wallflower. Never heard of it, but follow me inside and let's see what happens. Trauma and stressor-related disorders in movies. Okay, good heading.
Don't wake your sister. Be our little secret, okay? Look, Charlie, she's fast asleep. Don't wake your sister.
On the phone. Hello?
Hey, Candace.
Charlie?
Sam and Patrick left, and I just can't stop thinking about something.
What?
Candace, I killed Aunt Helen, didn't I? She died getting my birthday present, so I guess I killed.
Okay, so he's having some kinds of flashbacks. It looks like he's being abused by another woman in his life. And at first I was thinking, oh, perks of being a wallflower. This is going to be lighthearted. Not lighthearted. Very much dealing with trauma, and it looks like he's only having those flashes of memories. And it's showing that in trauma, when it's not healed, how it comes out. And so it shows him acting aggressively in school, acting out, and now he thinks that it's his fault that this other person is dead because she was doing something for him. She was buying him a present, and so he's taking all of that on as his own, as his baggage.
I'm trying to stop thinking that, but I can't. She keeps driving away and dying.
Call the police and send them to my house.
Stop her. Crazy again.
No, Charlie, listen to me. Mom and Dad are gonna be home with Chris any second. And
Thinking. What if I wanted her to die, Candace?
what?
Oh, and now the
Charlie?
guilt of wanting her to die. So she's the one that is the perpetrator. And now the hopelessness. And we know from the emotional scale, hopelessness is one of the worst human emotions because there's nowhere to go from there. Oh, I feel sick to my stomach. Okay, he sees the knife. You can tell he's having thoughts about using it, and then somebody breaks in the door. Oh. How do we even start unpacking this one? It's so interesting, right, when we look at trauma, because trauma is not something that we are allowed to talk about in our society, and even trauma research is only something like 40 years old. We used to think that when someone experienced trauma, that however they were was the way they were. The only way to help them was to give them a lobotomy. We now know that the brain is very malleable and that traumas can be healed. We can find emotional healing, spiritual healing, and most importantly, create new belief systems. So for this, perks of being a wallflower, not only is he experiencing trauma, but there's that extra added layer of being a male in our society that's experiencing trauma. And take it one step further, the person who hurt him was a woman. That's not usually what we hear of when we hear of stories of abuse, if we even talk about them at all. I love what they did here. They really did a good job of portraying what it feels like, and to have these these moments that flash in your mind and not being able to make sense of it, and having a feeling in your body and not being able to give words to it. And it can be hard to ask for help when you don't even know how to explain it yourself. And the guilt and shame that goes along with having to say these things to another person and to admit that this horrible thing happened to you. And even if someone tells you it's not your fault, still feeling all of that guilt and shame, and then having that carry over into adult life. So the beauty in all of this is we're starting to talk about it more. We're starting to bring it out into the light more. And within that, more and more resources are becoming available. We know more and more of how the brain is malleable and how transformation can occur. So within all of this, if you have experienced any feeling like this, whether your abuse was similar to this or not at all, but you still have that feeling of there's something there and you're ready to heal through it, just know that it doesn't have to be a painful experience. There are so many modalities where you can get healing and never even have to talk about it. There are therapists, counselors, healers, coaches who are trauma informed. And if you're looking for somebody, make sure that they're trauma informed, because they'll know how to gently take you through that healing experience to where you don't have to have that helplessness. There's always a way out. And so part of the reason I do the work I do is because I never want anybody to think that suicide or taking your life is a viable option. There are countless options available to you, and they can literally be a phone call away. So again, look for somebody who's trauma informed. They can make this experience of healing gentle and help you create a belief system that will support the life that you want to create instead of the one that you came from. As I was watching this, it was really interesting for me to remember what it was like for me to have flashbacks of memories that I didn't understand. And it's interesting because my life leading up to that point, I knew that there were certain situations and certain people in my life that made me feel uncomfortable, and I didn't know why. And then starting to have those flashbacks and starting to think I remember what was happening, and to start to unpack and pull apart all those different layers and things and trying to figure out what they all meant. I wasn't planning on sharing any of this, but I think it's really important because this kind of trauma and abuse is more common than we realize. So if this is something that's coming up for you, just know that you're not alone. There are so many of us that have been in this same situation. And for me, when I first started this healing journey, I knew that there was a part of me. Okay, let me even go back a little bit further. It was 17 years old was the time that I was like this boy looking at that other option and thinking it was a viable option. And at 17, deciding to live. And it was in that choice of deciding to live that I started looking for ways of healing. And for me, I really wanted to understand myself and my own inner path and find this healing journey. And I also really wanted to understand why people would do the things they did. I couldn't at that time understand why these bad things happened to me, but I wanted to know, I wanted to understand. So the first step in my healing journey was actually taking classes, and one was actually called Understanding Yourself and Others. There are so many options to be able to have a safely guided space for you to unpack these things. What I loved was being able to be surrounded by small groups of people who could help me move my way through there. So whether you are choosing to do small group experiences like weekend intensives, or finding someone that can just help you on a regular basis, just know that if you are deciding that the help is what you want and deciding to live and deciding to take that journey, that it will be the most rewarding choice of your life. Thank you for joining me on this very raw and vulnerable Reacts video. I invite you to watch our next one where we dissect the toxic traits of social media and the impact that it has on our women and our young girls. Thanks again for joining, and we'll see you in the next video.